Welcome back to Beyond the Margins, the show exploring the mind shaping modern finance. Today we've got a treat. Darren McNutt, partner at 2020 Accounting Solutions. They've carved out a serious niche helping practices like podiatry clinics thrive financially. Darren, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sharice.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you were able to join us. And before we dive into some business strategy, I'd like for you to share with our listeners a little bit about your journey, what inspired the leap from public accounting to building with the practice, and what are some of the adventures you've had along the way.
Sure. So I started out in podiatry, and so I was working for a medical software company, and we had a client that was about 30 podiatrists, and we took them on as an accounting client. Ended up, the medical software company sold, and I split off with 2020, and that being the first client. So it was really a foundation in podiatry. And so we went along for a few years and grew naturally and grew outside of podiatry as well, and really came to understand that working with physicians in that frame really allows us to streamline our processes and really provide that targeted advice that really makes the difference in those business owners' lives. And so we really focus on podiatry. Podiatry now, we work on our process and refining it, starting off from the basic blocking and tackling with it, bookkeeping and making sure that the financials are complete on time, and then taking that to the next level with more of a CFO look at it. And we do use AI and technology very heavily there, but target things that can make a difference for those physician owners. After that, we lay in some tax planning and make sure that they are not just making, the most profits that they ethically can, but also ethically keeping it in their pocket. And we want to set them up for success in the future. So we like to layer in financial planning as well. So you bring everything together and provide a robust package that's tailored to one type of individual and allows us to provide an excellent service to them.
That's an excellent approach. So do you do that with other niches besides just the podiatry?
We have one other niche that we work with, infusion pharmacies, but our growth is really targeted at podiatrists.
That is great. So how did you decide that you would focus on podiatry? Was it
Sure.
something that just after you had that first client experience, you're like, we just want to stay focused on this? Or was there something that made you come back around to it?
You love how, you kind of wind and turn through your career.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we started with podiatry, and I've loved podiatry since I got into it. But we did work with other clients, and we still have some other clients for sure. And we're able to take what we're doing for podiatry and help out with those clients. But we've really found that tailoring that targeted advice gives the clients a much better experience. And I want to get on with a doctor and talk to them about their office, about whether it be their staffing challenges or, hey, how many staff should I have? Is my building big enough? What should I make? What should I be collecting per patient? I want to be able to talk to those detailed specifics and, to target one niche market. You can really do that and do it well.
Mhm. That's excellent. What type of advice then do you provide that would be more specialized than, say, just a generic accountant that's looking after multiple different areas of,
Sure.
clients?
I think, one of the things that sets us apart is we're able to do benchmarking, and we have our own benchmark database. We've gone out and tested other softwares, and, I looked and saw, okay, well, it was pulling from 16 podiatrists. Well, great. I've got a lot more than that I'm pulling from. And then just being able to, when someone's talking about, you know, specific procedures, or, they're looking at buying an EPAT machine, or, something very specific to podiatry, I understand what that is, and I can I can talk them through that process. And you use basic budgeting and, accounting tactics, but tailored to that specific industry, and it works out really well.
So, in your own operation, then, what efficiency and strategies have made the greatest difference for you recently?
Sure. So, we have gone through and really changed our business over the past few years. And we strive to improve all the time. And we actually break our calendar up into three segments. Instead of quarters, we call them tertials. So every 4 months we look at it. And with those tertials, we'll pick a major project that everyone in the firm is lifting forward. And so at least once a year, we do have an efficiency type workflow project. Just one that we did was we did a thing called Fix the Flow, and so we did a metric with a beaver dam, or had someone draw out a beaver dam, and we hit all the logs, and we brainstormed what are all the issues that we have that just are hard to do. And so I think we ended up coming up with over 300 items that, just roadblocks that we needed to get out of the way. And it's something that, okay, it may be faster that one time to just do it and move on. Well, we actually, but if you do it over time, you do it that way every time, you need to fix the problem. And so we went back and fixed all of our issues. And, I think on the first go, we may have gotten 250 of the total. And then we've refined it and refined it and refined it. We've hired people. We've got a client engagement coordinator, someone who's there to speak with the clients and pull out information from them, something that takes an accountant long time to do. They handle that stuff. And so it's really changed our firm to work much more efficiently than we ever did.
I've heard from different accountants that that client efficiency role is something that they've really benefited from implementing in the firm. You had mentioned that you use some AI and technology things for doing the advisory role for the clients. What type of examples of things are you doing right now?
Sure. So we have a robust reporting package that, AI helps with. AI is fantastic, but you have to guide AI. And so we have a reporting package that we've created that is tailored to podiatrists. It allows them to see not just financial metrics, but we pull in KPIs or we pull in data that then pulls in KPIs, and allows us to really give advice at a much higher level. And having an AI tool to help facilitate that has been incredibly impactful.
Have you found that your clients have increased their efficiencies and been able to scale their businesses or grow their bottom line because of those advice that you're able to provide them?
Yeah, I think I look at it as a decision-making tool. So, we do budgets, of course. You should do a budget every year. Well, a budget is really how we measure success and failure, over the whole year. This is where you were trying to get. But we do forecasts, and the AI tool allows us to do a forecast. So say a doctor wants to buy, like I mentioned earlier, an EPAP machine. They will put in a micro forecast into that to allow them to see what does that do, and what does that do to their P&L, and how long is it going to take to recoup what. But not just, okay, you've got the cost of the machine, cost of you've also got the labor costs associated with it. How much time is it going to take from a room? Is it going to impact other things? You need to really understand the full aspect of it. And those micro forecasts allow us to do that. And so we'll do that. We'll do the micro forecasts to really get a refined approach on where they're going. So I like to put it into the analogy, you're driving a car. In accounting, you're looking historical, right? If you have a budget, you're looking a little bit forward. but you're driving a car looking through the rearview mirror, and we put a windshield on it to allow them to see where they're going and really understand the implications.
Yeah. I appreciate the fact of your analogy of looking in the rearview mirror because that's what accounting is essentially, right? It's looking at what's already happened, but that doesn't help us with moving forward. So
Yeah.
adding that, and then you also mentioned that in addition to like the CFO services, you provide financial advice and the tax side of it. Is it a separate business that you have then for the financial side of it, or do you do everything in house?
So we do have for the financial planning, we do have a separate business, a sister company that we work with. However, the tax planning is inside 2020 accounting. And both of them, everything works well together. I don't know, I'm sure other CPAs have given advice like, hey, you need to go open up a 401k, you need to go do whatever, and then sent someone out and they've come back with, say, a cash balance plan or something that just wasn't really the advice. And this allows us to collaborate a little bit better and make sure that we're really doing the right thing for the client. And if you have a whole understanding of what's going on. So, say I've got a podiatrist that he's got a few goals. He wants to hire an associate, so we need to plan for that. Wants to open a second location, we need to plan for that. And then he wants to long term build a building and house it himself, rent from himself. Well, we don't need him to go tie up all of his funds forever to where he can't get access to that money. And so that's when the collaborative approach really works better to meet the client's goals.
Absolutely, a whole view approach from the financials perspective. That's excellent. Now, so you focus on podiatry clients, and I'm assuming that in your local town there isn't a huge number of them. Have you expanded out throughout the United States, or kind of
We
where's
have.
the focus you have? Okay. How have you been able to generate clients then from different parts of the country?
We have really worked on a referral basis up until this point. We've recently hired a marketing director and are going to, I'm going to be going to a podiatry conference next month, and really trying to meet the other podiatrists face to face. I think people will be receptive to someone that understands their business and can really impact it.
That's wonderful. Yeah, getting in the room with them, I would assume would be the most effective way to be able to build those relationships, a large
Yeah,
amount at
100%.
once.
Digital marketing and advertising, I think, is very important, but it's not it shouldn't take place of actually meeting people and, explaining what you do and how you can help them.
Absolutely. So now going back to your business, if you could solve one major challenge for your business today, what would that be?
Ooh, I'd say right now, our biggest challenge is, going from accountants that get business solely based on referral to taking that out to actually getting the type of client that we really want, that we really feel like we can help, and that takes the marketing. And that's the piece that we're working on. I think we're on a good path, but seeing that through to fruition.
That is exciting how you're growing in that niche there. Now, what would be the long-term vision then for your business?
Sure. So long-term vision is to systematize everything we possibly can, make sure that we're providing the highest level service, detailed, impactful financial information that not just gives you that rear view mirror, but also provides that windshield to help support decisions in the future. I think we're doing a really good job there and grow, grow the podiatry market. I want to be the leading accountant in podiatry.
Excellent. I do have a more personal question for you. Uh, as a leader, is there a particular book or possibly podcast or something that you've dived into recently that has shaped how you view the business or perhaps changed how you do business?
Sure. So a few years ago, we hired a business coach, and we do certain projects. We are always trying to improve ourselves, and the guy's name is Rob Nixon, and he actually just came out with a new book that's been phenomenal, but it's called Profit and Time: The Accountant's Guide to Have It All. So I'll hold
Okay.
it up there real quick.
Awesome.
But we've implemented the strategies in this book, and it has increased, client satisfaction considerably, employee satisfaction. We really, I feel like, are hitting our stride, and that being able to implement those strategies has helped us get there significantly. So shout out to Rob and Wendy. They've really helped us out a lot, and I certainly appreciate it.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Darren. And before we let you go, what would be one piece of advice that you'd give to financial leaders that are trying to specialize in a specific niche without burning out?
Yeah, I think you need to think 5 years into the future. And so, what I mean by that is, don't let today's problems stop you from, solving the solution, solving the problems that are going to change your business in the future. As a business leader, I do feel like you should be able to scale with your team. I think everybody should work a reasonable job. I don't believe in the 60-hour work week that accountants have had historically. You should be trying to decrease your time using processes that allow you to get faster, better information, give better advice, and have happier clients, happier employees, and yourself be happier as well.
That is wise advice. Definitely something we should all take into consideration and apply in our lives. Darren, where can listeners connect with you and your team there at 2020 Accounting Solutions?
Sure. Yeah, you can get us at www.2020acct.com, and all our contact information's up there. Actually, I have a brand new website coming out in a week, so by the time this airs, it'll be up and live, and we're really excited about it.
That's wonderful. Is there anything else you'd like to add as we close?
No, hey, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me. I love your podcast, and
Thank you.
certainly watch it weekly.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Darren. And to all of our listeners, thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please hit like and subscribe and share with someone leading in finance or accounting. And we'll catch you next time.